Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eric. I am a transracial adoptee, and in this video I want to talk about a little bit of the U.S. history, specifically the Native American boarding schools and how it ties into adoption and the history of adoption. The Native American boarding schools era. When and why did it begin? Beginning in the late 1800s, the U.S. government and Christian missionaries established boarding schools for Native American children. The goal was to civilize Native children by removing them from their families and communities, erasing their indigenous identities, languages, and traditions. That doesn't sound very nice. A notable institution was the Carlisle Indian Industrial School in Pennsylvania. It was founded by Richard Henry Pratt in 1879, and Pratt's motto in one of his speeches he gave, what he's remembered for is him saying, "Kill the Indian in him, save the man." A little overview in the life in the schools, what it was like. Children were forcibly taken from their families, sometimes at gunpoint, and sent to distant schools. At these schools, children were forbidden to speak their native languages, practice their traditions, or maintain ties to their cultures. Many faced physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, as well as poor living conditions. This was not in the best interest of these people. Disease and malnutrition were common. Many children died in these schools. The Indian Adoption Project ran from 1958 to 1967. After World War II, assimilation policies shifted to include adoption. The Indian Adoption Project was a federal program conducted in partnership with the Child Welfare League of America. Native children were placed in white, middle-class families under the guise of providing them better opportunities, but this often meant cultural erasure. Officials claimed that these adoptions provided a better life, but ignoring the cultural and emotional damage caused by severing ties with Native communities. Thousands of Native children were adopted by non-Native families during this period, losing connections to their heritage. Like the boarding school era, this was part of a broader policy of assimilation and cultural genocide. The Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. This was a big catalyst for change. By the 1970s, studies revealed that 25 to 35% of Native children were removed from their families, with 85% placed in non-Native homes. The Indian Child Welfare Act, also known as ICWA, was passed in 1978 to address that crisis. ICWA aimed to keep Native children within their tribes and families, prioritizing placement with relatives or other tribal members. Ongoing challenges. Despite ICWA, violations and controversies continued. Tribes and Native advocates still fight to protect ICWA, emphasizing the importance of preserving cultural ties for Native children. Legacy and healing. The trauma of boarding schools and adoptive policies remain a significant issue for Native communities. Efforts to heal, including truth-telling initiatives such as U.S. government's investigation into boarding school abuses and attempts to locate unmarked graves. Many Native adoptees have embarked on journeys to reconnect to their heritage and biological families, often supported by tribal organizations and advocacy groups. This dark chapter in history reflects systemic attempts to erase indigenous identities, but ongoing resilience and activism that continues to preserve and revitalize Native cultures. Research shows that Native Americans who are adopted are 10 times more likely to attempt to unalive themselves compared to their white counterparts. That's not good. Historical and intergenerational trauma are real. What happened in the past still affects people today. The number of children who died at Native American boarding schools is not fully known due to incomplete records, but estimates suggest that thousands of children lost their lives. In Canada, a similar system of Indian residential schools resulted in documented deaths of over 4,100 Indigenous children. These are children that had no choice in this, though the actual numbers is likely much higher. These deaths were often due to similar causes, and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada highlighted the systemic neglect and abuse as factors. Efforts are ongoing in both countries to uncover the full scope of deaths, including investigations of unmarked graves at former school sites. This work is critical to understanding the legacy of these schools and addressing their impact on Indigenous communities. If you'd like to learn more and support these Native American stories, I'll put links in the description box below. I really hope that you learn more and do your own research on this. U.S. history is pretty crazy. If you want to learn more, please do your own research. I will see you in the next video.